He told them that a panel could fly off a brand new jet. He stated that the parts weren't being tracked and that the paperwork wasn't accurate. Not long after, a Boeing 737 MAX 9 left the factory and a door plug blew out mid-flight over Oregon. This is why the Boeing whistleblower story feels like a true crime. Not because it features a single villain, but because it is a series of small decisions that can culminate in moments where hundreds of lives depend on 4 missing bolts. On January 5, 2024, Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 experienced rapid decompression shortly after takeoff when the left mid-exit door plug separated from the aircraft. The plane returned safely and everyone survived, but passengers were injured and the footage appeared nightmarish. What makes the warning chilling is that in the months leading up to this incident, Boeing quality investigator Sam Mohawk warned both Boeing and federal regulators about safety lapses and the mishandling of non-conforming parts at the Renton factory. After the blowout, he stated he was not surprised. That's the hook. However, the real value lies in the analysis. What went wrong, why the warning was significant, and what this teaches us about how large companies can fail. Let's begin with the most unsettling detail. The National Transportation Safety Board concluded that 4 bolts required to secure the door plug were removed during production and never reinstalled, and that no records documenting this removal existed. Think about that. This wasn't caused by a complicated software bug hidden inside a computer. It was a matter of basic physical hardware. Bolts, the kind you can hold in your hand. The distinction between safe flight and a hole in the plane hinged on whether the production process worked correctly and whether oversight identified mistakes. The NTSB's investigation report reveals more than just the missing bolts. It highlights broader safety issues related to the aircraft's manufacturing at Boeing's Renton facility, including process complexity, training deficiencies, declines in workforce experience levels, ineffective corrective actions, and inadequate FAA oversight. If you're wondering why this matters to you, even if you never fly on a MAX 9, here's the larger point. Modern aviation safety doesn't rely on one heroic engineer identifying every problem. It's about systems and multiple layers of checks that account for human error. When those layers start to thin, the risks may not be apparent right away. Sometimes they surface at the worst possible moment. Now we enter the true crime aspect. When a major incident occurs, it raises not only engineering questions, but also legal ones, alongside a more troubling inquiry. Was this an accident, or was it negligence? In March 2024, passengers on Flight 1282 received letters from the FBI indicating they were identified as possible victims of a crime and that the case was under investigation. This doesn't mean anyone has been charged, nor does it imply a conclusion has been reached. However, it underscores the seriousness of the situation. The door plug blowout was not viewed as a mere oops. Instead, it was examined from a criminal perspective. Whistleblowers are essential because they often highlight the internal conditions that can contribute to incidents like this. Boeing has faced multiple allegations from whistleblowers across different programs. For instance, Sam Mohawk warned about parts tracking and safety practices at the Renton factory, which is responsible for a significant portion of Boeing's commercial output. Another whistleblower, Boeing engineer Sam Salehpour, alleged structural and assembly issues on wide-body aircraft programs and reported facing retaliation after voicing his concerns. Reuters noted that the FAA was investigating his claims in 2024. Boeing has disputed these allegations and maintained that their aircraft are safe. Additionally, there is John Barnett, a former Boeing quality manager who raised concerns about the 787's production and claimed he experienced retaliation. His case and subsequent death gained significant attention in 2024. Authorities described his death as self-inflicted, which sparked widespread public debate online. Here's why you should care about these seemingly separate stories as part of a larger narrative. They collectively illustrate a company under tremendous pressure where the demands for speed, supply shortages, staffing changes, and production targets can clash with the safety culture. CBS's 60 Minutes reported on Mohawk's key concern that defective or non-conforming parts may not be properly tracked and could end up on planes with potential long-term effects that may not be immediately apparent. That idea is quite alarming because it changes our understanding of the timeline. It implies that the worst outcomes don't always occur on the first day. They can happen months later, when an aircraft has been in operation, when the paperwork is lost, when the individuals who handled the part are no longer present, and when no one can easily explain what went wrong. Now let's address the phrase "fired him," which many people like to repeat. In reality, these situations are rarely so straightforward. Whistleblowers often report being sidelined, threatened, or pushed out after raising safety concerns. Companies typically deny any retaliation. The truth can be contested for years through legal battles. Instead of simplifying this into a cartoonish narrative, let's present a more honest version. Whistleblowers frequently describe facing retaliation or pressure after voicing safety concerns, and several whistleblowers associated with Boeing have made such claims publicly. The validity of each claim isn't the main focus here. The key point is what occurs when a safety system relies on workers to speak up, but those workers feel that doing so comes at a personal cost. If the price of raising your hand is too high, people will stop speaking out. That's how unknown unknowns emerge within a production line. So, what exactly is the warning from whistleblowers in one sentence? It's not that this specific plane will fail on this specific day. Instead, it's that your process is weak enough to allow for the possibility of a catastrophic surprise. In the case of Flight 1282, the surprise was very specific. 4 missing bolts, no removal record, and a door plug that should never have left the factory in that condition. Now, here's a part that feels like a thriller ending, but is actually a lesson in business. Big companies don't usually collapse due to a single evil decision. They fall apart because of a slow drift. What is considered normal becomes almost normal, then almost normal becomes acceptable. And acceptable evolves into "we'll fix it later." A lack of training, confusing procedures, rush orders, staffing shortages, and a "just get it done" mentality can lead to disastrous outcomes. The NTSB report highlights issues such as complex instructions, inadequate training, and poor change management, all tied to decreased workforce experience, essentially leaving fingerprints at a crime scene. When you hear Boeing, the whistleblower's warning, think of spreading cracks and the dire consequences at 16,000 feet. This ongoing story involves investigations and heightened regulatory scrutiny. Boeing claims it's enhancing safety, while journalists uncover issues like missing bolts. The message is clear: safety is a habit that deteriorates when speed overshadows certainty. Trivial oversights, skipped checkboxes, or ignored concerns can lead to dangerous failures. When a whistleblower warns this could end badly, it's crucial to investigate thoroughly because lives may depend on it. Like, comment, and subscribe for more interesting videos. Thank you.